this tutorial, we are going to look at how we can find the zeros of a particular polynomial. Okay, so this is the problem. Let's dive into it and look at how we can find the zeros given a particular polynomial function. So this is how we're going to do it. First, if you have a polynomial function and you want to find the zeros, what you have to do is first look for the first factor, use the trial approach to find the first factor of that particular use the trial approach to find the first factor. Okay, so once you have the first factor, use that factor to check if indeed when you substitute that value, it will give you 0. Okay, so once it gives you 0, then that particular factor is indeed a factor to that particular polynomial. Then you go ahead and use that factor and the polynomial together with the long division approach or the synthetic approach to find the other factors. So once you have the other factors together with the previous factor, find the values of x. Those values of x becomes the zeros of the polynomial. So the zeros of a particular polynomial is basically the values of x, the values of x. So here we are going to find the first factor to this particular polynomial. So here when you substitute x equals -1 into this expression, you have p of -1 to be 0. So let's try that. So p of -1, okay, so that is x equals -1. Okay, so p equals -1. P of -1 is equal to -1 cubed plus 3 into -1 squared minus into -1 minus 3. So that is -1 cubed is -1, then plus 3 into -1 squared is basically +1. -1 becomes +1 minus 3. Okay, so we're going to have -1 plus 3 plus 1 minus 3. So basically this takes of this and this also takes of this. So we have 0 here. So basically -1, right? -1 is a factor to this particular polynomial. So we use that factor and the polynomial together with either the synthetic approach or the long division approach to find the other factors. Once we have the other factors, we set them to 0 to find the values of x, and those values becomes the zeros of the polynomial. So let's go. We find the other factors. So x equals -1, so it means that x plus 1 is the factor. So now this into the square root sign, the polynomial x cubed plus 3x squared minus x minus 3, right? So here x cubed divided by x becomes s squared. Then s squared multiply everything, we have s cubed, then plus s squared. We don't have any x term, so plus 0x plus 0. Okay, so now this minus this becomes 0. 3s squared minus s squared becomes 2s squared. Then minus x minus 0x becomes minus x. Also minus 3 minus 0 becomes minus 3. So once we have this information, we know that 2s squared, x can divide it. So we have 2x here. So we take this 2x to multiply everything in the bracket. So we're going to have 2s squared, this times this plus 2x. We don't have any constant, so plus 0. Okay, so this minus this becomes 0. Minus x minus 2x becomes minus 3x. Then minus 3 minus 0 becomes minus 3. Okay, we know that minus 3x can divide x. Okay, so when we do that, we are going to have minus 3. Okay, so this times this becomes minus 3x. This times this becomes minus 3. Okay, so we do the subtraction. We have 0 here and we have 0 here. So meaning x plus 1 is indeed a factor to this particular polynomial. So once we have the result to be 0, 0, then that confirms that x plus 1 is a factor to x cubed plus 3x squared minus x minus 3. Good. So once we have this, the rest is setting this result, the quotient, and the divisor to 0 to find the zeros of the polynomial, because basically the values of x are the zeros to the polynomial. So here the zeros are x plus 1 equals 0, and that is x equals negative 1. And also when you set x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0, we solve this quadratically. Okay, so solving that quadratically, we know that that can be factored to have s plus 1. Okay, so that can be factored to have s plus 1. Yeah, we can factor that to have um, s plus 3 and x minus 1 and x minus 1. So basically we know that this will go to 0. Then we have x plus 3 equals 0, then x equals negative 3. Okay, so when we do for the other one, we are going to have x minus 1 equals 0, then we have s equals 1. Okay, so the zeros to this particular polynomial function are the zeros of the polynomial are s equals negative 1, x equals positive 1, s equals negative 1, s equals negative 3, and x equals positive 1. So these are the zeros to this particular polynomial function. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the process that we go through to find the zeros of a particular polynomial function. First, look for the factor that can be able to make the polynomial 0. Okay, so once you have that factor, use that factor to find the other factors by using either the synthetic approach or the long division approach. So once you have the quotient and the previous factor, set those expressions to 0 to find the zeros of that particular polynomial function. So basically, the zeros of a polynomial function are the values of x. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your mates, and I'll give you more updates. Bye-bye.